doing? My name is Stephen Rosenberg. This is Gene Ginsberg, and welcome to Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. We're pretty excited today because we are going to be bringing you a very special episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. And what we're going to talk about today is consistency and how important being consistent is when you are trying to build a brand or anything else that you are trying to do in business. How's it going so far today, Gene?
It's going really well. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm really excited to hear about what you mean by consistency in business, because I do have some examples, but I definitely want you to explain to our audience what you mean by consistency, and of course provide your examples, and of course I can chime in later.
Sure. So, what I mean by consistency is when you have a customer, and before I even begin, I should just say, this is for people that want to do business the right way. Like, this is not when you're in a scamming situation. Like, this is if you believe in what you're doing and you're doing the right thing. I just want to make sure that that's clear. But basically, what I want to talk about with consistency in building a brand is that you have to earn trust between the person that you're selling to. And when you do that, it takes time because people in general today are constantly being bombarded to buy things. It's everywhere around us. There's constant advertisement. We talk about it half the time on this show with Facebook ads and Instagram ads and Snapchat and all this other stuff, that not even talking about billboards and newspapers. It's just a constant bombardment. So in order for you to really build a successful brand, I think you have to be consistent and build trust. So if you commit to your audience that you're going to be doing something every week or every day or every month or whatever it is, you have to be able to earn that trust by actually delivering and following through with being consistent. Now, I think as a business owner, it's really helpful from my personal experience and what I've learned over the years of being in business is it's actually a tool I've used to work on myself. So if I put it out there to the world or to a business client and say, I'm going to do X, Y, Z for you every month, I have to then do that. Or at least that's how I work, because I'm definitely not going to be the one to let the client down or let the consumer down or let the audience down, especially if I commit to doing that. I just think that's really important. And I think that another good thing about being consistent, even if it's not for a specific person, but if you want to build a personal brand, you have to understand that unless you've got millions of dollars to throw at a campaign, it's going to take a while for people to see your stuff. You're either going to go viral, which is not very often, and it's got to be really creative, and then you also have to be able to have the infrastructure ready to, roll with that immediate virality. So I don't think that's realistic, but doing something consistently, you're really not only building up something as you build an audience, but then once you are or have made it to your goal, you have a lot of different content for people to go back on, or content that you can reuse in the future. Because it's not that it's bad, it's just you didn't have as many eyeballs watching you at the time. But I think it's very, very important. I'm excited to hear what some of your examples are, Gene.
Yes, and I totally agree with you, because if you're looking to create a personal brand or a company brand, you have to be consistent with everything. So for example, we have this show that we do once a week, and we put out content once a week. So that's our consistency, is that we want to we continuously create content that we think is valuable to our audiences, because most of our audiences are entrepreneurs, and so we want to consistently keep that coming. And this content is absolutely free, and we hope that it's helpful. The other thing that I want to talk about is also branding and messaging in businesses. And it's also about consistency, because one thing that I've noticed, especially for newer companies or newer businesses or entrepreneurs, is that there's not a lot of consistency on your website, to your messaging, to your landing pages, to your visual, to your logos. So all of that, to keep in mind, needs to be consistent. And the reason for that is when a person or a consumer or a prospect comes to your site, or they see an ad, they want to see like what we call like AdSense. So it's like if it goes from, let's say, a Facebook ad to a landing page, they want consistency between that ad to the landing page. So it's not like a different color or a totally different type font or totally different messaging, because then it just throws the person off, and like there's a sense of distrust there. Which, I mean, maybe you didn't, you might not have done anything wrong. Absolutely, you're a totally legitimate business, but it's just like how we as humans think. In the sense, like, we kind of like, why have things changed, like what's going on? So we kind of notice that change as a prospect, and so it can cause you to lose a lot of conversions or a lot of engagement if there is an inconsistency across your messaging or your colors or your let's say like the way things look or your design on from your, let's say, your ad to your landing page. So things to keep in mind when we're talking about branding and messaging. So make sure that your logo is consistent across. Sorry, what was that?
No, I was just going to say that's a really interesting point, and it made me think of, how can you adapt to that in today's world when things are changing so fast? I mean, there's just constantly new platforms, or Facebook changes some aspect of their site, or so it's like a constant. No, it's a good idea. Sorry, it was a random
I'm just talking
thought.
about I'm not talking about different platforms. I'm just talking about like your own consistency in your branding and your messaging.
Yeah.
So just to say, there's a few things that I would keep in mind, and a few points that I would mention is like, okay, make sure your logo is consistent across the board. So your logo is the same on your website as it is on your landing pages, as it is on your ads, as it is on any other printed or online marketing material that you have. Make sure that you have, one thing that I recommend is having a color scheme. So you have consistent colors. So it might be, usually there's actually documents like branding documents where you create a color scheme for your business. So for example, like my color scheme is like dark red, gray, white, and black. So I use only those colors in all of like my branding. So if you go to my website, if you look at any of my ads or anything like that, like it's always those 4 colors. So it's important to have that on your website and your landing pages and any other online materials that you have on your ads. Also, messaging is extremely important to have. So, as a lot of times companies or brands will have like a byline, so like, I don't just do it or something like that. Like, keep your messaging, and not just like your byline, but also your messaging. So for example, like I say to whenever I meet people, like I have my little elevator pitch and talk about what I do. So I say, I own a digital marketing agency, and we help entrepreneurs grow their business through digital marketing. And we use certain platforms like Facebook and nurture funnels and retargeting to accomplish those goals. So like that's an example of like the messaging that I use. Yep. That is basically across like all of like my website, my branding, my ads, or whatever it is that I use. So make sure that keep your messaging consistent across the board for all of your materials or all your marketing materials. So what are your thoughts, Stephen?
100%. That's so important to do, and you nailed it on the head. Plus, I love the helpful tips about using colors to organize yourself. That's huge. I mean, because my brain doesn't naturally work that way. I've always had people in place, and the people that always are able to help me much better are the people that are color-coded and organized in that sense. So I think it's really, really important what you're talking about. We'd love to hear what everybody else's thoughts are. What do you guys think is the most important thing when being consistent? Have you been trying to do anything consistent? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, we can't wait to see you guys next time.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Jean.